welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We can rein that in a bit. Put up with a little bit. That white line. There we go. Welcome, ladies and gents. Yes, definitely ride the dente. That's right. Yeah, I got the Colts hat. Look good so far. They should be undefeated. But they dropped one to the Rams, which, you know, were Super Bowl, projected, according to some people. So that's not a bad team to lose to. And they've dropped 2 games now. Wow, the Colts are 7-1. But they just got the national anthem out of the way, so we still have a little bit to go before the race starts. So what we will do, the Redskins, well, I guess who the Redskins would be. Let's take a look at our starting grid. First, we have Leighton Riggs. Second, Giovanni Ruggiero. I see that shortened to Gio Ruggiero. Rolls off the tongue a lot better. Third, Ty Majeski, my in-game rival in NASCAR 25. Fourth, Corey Heim. I kind of hope he wins it. Fifth, Caden Honeycutt. Sixth, Tyler Ankrum. Seventh, Rajah Caruth. Eighth, Grant Enfinger. Ninth, Daniel Hemrick. 10th, I'm not going to even attempt that. 11th, Ben Rhodes. 12th, Tanner Gray. 13th, Brendan Queen. 14th, Dawson Sutton. 15th, Matt Crafton. 16th, Corey LaJoy. Be interesting to see if he can move up through the field. 17th, Connor Mozak. 18th, Chandler Smith. 19th, Jack Wood. 20th, Bailey Curry. 21st, Brent Cruz. 22nd, Jake Garcia. 23rd, Matt Mills. 24th, Tony Bryden. It's a fan favorite. Although I'm not sure we'll see much improvement at that track position. 25th, Connor Jones. 26th, Timmy Hill. 27th, Casey Mears. 28th, Spencer Boyd. 29th, Patrick Starr. Like the guy from SpongeBob. 30th, Logan Bearden. 31st, Justin Carroll. 32nd, Frankie Muniz. 33rd, Alan Waller. 34th, Norm Benning. And 35th, Clayton Green. Good to see you guys in the chat. King's Dead. Denny Hamlin fan. Warren Smith was here pretty early. So was Justin 87. And Epic Demon Hunter. Good to see you guys. And Chandler. So a lot of regulars in here already. I am exhausted. Oh, another monster. My nail hurts. So, Gunter, you know the dealership decal. I think I told you about it in the Snapchat. I bought some tar / adhesive remover, and it was meant for the adhesive, not for the sticker per se. It did say sticker on the bottle, but it did not work. I let it sit on there. I went to wipe it off like it said, and it didn't budge. So I just got my finger and just started scraping. Used a few different ones throughout the process, and so my nails are just bleeding. And so now if I touch something the wrong way, it's just this spike of pain down my hand. But I got the decal off. I think it looks a lot better. Yeah, I guess I could have, but with something a little sharper, there's a chance of scuffing the paint, which it really isn't an issue because my neighbors have taken care of scuffing the paint, and the prior owners used a machine wash, and so I think I had like 1-2 prior owners. They used a machine wash, and there's already paint swirls, so not too worried about the paint, but try to take care of it. Yeah, I don't understand people taking a new car to a machine wash. Just go to a touchless or go to the self-serve. That's what I do. It'll damage the vehicle. I used to have a membership back when I lived at that other apartment, and years ago, almost a decade ago now, and I'd go every week, especially in the spring when there's high pollen count. And what ended up happening is the tire shine that they would spray on. I love the tire shine. It ended up corroding my chrome rims, and so it actually ate through the chrome plating. And since it was constantly shooting that stuff, it also got the side skirts. So some of the paint is gone from the side skirts. And the roof is beat to shreds. You hand wash the Ford, you're silly. Then again, that the Chevy isn't a metallic paint scheme, right? It's like a gloss. So paint swirls aren't as bad on gloss. If it's metallic, then you're gonna see it a lot more. Yeah, I got my oil changed yesterday in the Toyota. Today I got the oil changed and more air put in. It's the Camaro has nitrogen in the tires. Very annoying. That's a very valid reason. I like that Prime commercial that just came on. So I'll be landing in New York this time tomorrow, if all things go according to plan. I thought we were getting in at 7, so I didn't book anything for tomorrow night. If I knew we were getting there at 6, I might have risked it and tried to get Jerry Seinfeld tickets because he's performing in New York tomorrow and today. So I'm just missing him. It would have been really cool to see him in New York, like I saw Billy Joel. I'm gonna see him in Chattanooga in about a month. How long are you gonna be in New York? So till Tuesday. Till Tuesday. Yeah, a little frustrating them traveling during the race season. Fox Sports page is just white. Wish there was a a night mode I could turn on. Maybe I can inspect element and change it manually. All right, trucks are fired up. Let's get them on track. All right, open, inspect, element. Developer tools panel. Man, I can't find the hex code. Oh, okay. Light mode. How can I change this? Come on. Bang! Oh, I'm good. I am good. Refreshing breaks it though. It worked. I was able to change it to night mode manually. All right, we'll see you, man. Enjoy the week early Halloween party. Come on, I gotta get this fixed. Let's go. Okay. Manually set it to dark mode. That's awesome. It was in the HTML. I was able to just change light to dark and boom, it works. That was pretty simple. All right, let me go ahead and get the Twitter pulled open so we can pull up highlights. NASCAR Craftsman truck page. There we go. We have that pulled up. So should we get some highlights, we'll pull those up for you guys. All right, we got the truck stopped on track right now. Let's get this thing going. Need some eye drops. First caution, I'm gonna go put in eye drops. They just noted on the broadcast, concrete corners. That's pretty important. The majority of the track here at Martinsville is asphalt, but the line, the preferred line that they're going to be running throughout the race is concrete. So we have a 50-lap stage for stage 1, stage 2, 50 laps, and final stage 100 laps. Pit window 150. So they could stay out for 2 stages. We'll see how important tires are. We'll be watching the fall off. If the fall off's more than a second throughout the stage, probably worth it to pit. Even though it's, I don't know, hard to pass here. So you may need more fall off than that. It may need to be more like 2 seconds to really make it worth it to drop maybe 20 positions at minimum on that first stage break. All right, the lights are out. We're going green next time by. The MX5 Cup race last night was amazing. It was a great race. All right, green flag at Martinsville. All right, Lane Riggs able to grab the lead. Gio Ruggiero slotting into second. Ty Majeski third. Fourth, Corey Heim. Fifth, Caden Honeycutt. Raja making a move for sixth back there on Tyler Ankrum. He will take the position. Tyler Ankrum slotting into that inside line. Grant Infinger hung up on the outside right now. Daniel Hemrick's going to shut the door. Grant Infinger needs to try to slot in here on this next straightaway if he can. He's going to die out there if he... All right, he slots in. That was close. Good stuff. And then, forget his last name. The guy with the really long name. He's still stuck on the outside. Perez de Lara. Something like that. Andres Perez de Lara. Something like that. Already 6 laps into this first stage. The laps go by so fast at Martinsville. Whoo, 3 wide. Wow. Wow. Oh, aggressive goes around. Andres Perez de Lara around. So that was pretty wild. That was pretty wild. So Connor Mozak was on the inside. Matt Craftsman was in the middle. And then up high was Perez. And so, yeah, they just ran out of room there. That's right, Michael. That's right. Good to see you. They accidentally recreated the Beatles song Come Together. And it ended up with the 44 truck in the outside wall. and we're to commercial. So we made it. We made it just a few laps. It was fun. It was fun while it lasted. Yeah, what I was saying is, I don't know how many of you guys saw it, but the MX-5 Cup race last night was really fun. I didn't see the modified race, sadly. But the MX-5, they put on such a good show at Martinsville. They put on a good show pretty much anywhere they go. I'm just waiting to get things back underway. As soon as we get a replay, we'll pull it up for you guys. I doubt we have one yet. Yeah, we do not have a replay yet. Let's see if Xfinity Racing's posted anything. No. And FS1, have they posted anything? Negative. Nothing about the truck race at all. What a garbage broadcast partner. Thank you, Fox Sports 1. You really obviously showing you care about the truck series that you carry all year long. And each week is the least enjoyable broadcast to watch. Thank you so much, Fox. I defended Fox for so many years too. And I can't defend their truck broadcasts. It's rough. We got our first update throughout the race. So they just showed the green flag. So here in a few minutes, we might get a replay. It might be green by the time we get a replay. All right, they're replaying the incident right now. 3 wide, Craftsman sliding up the track a little bit after contact. Yeah, 3 wide, not usually advisable at Martinsville. I mean, he had the inside line. There's nothing wrong with taking that. It was open. It's just two guys wanted the same piece of track. Craftsman, you know, he entered the corner with position. You know, he was in that second-ish groove, 1.5 groove. And yeah, and Mozak got a little too aggressive there, I guess. Maybe could have not tried that dive bomb. I guess that was something of a dive bomb. So not the worst move, but you know, and if there were only, you know, 2 guys, if Perez wasn't there, that might have worked, and it may have just shot Craftsman up the track. But with 3 guys, that definitely didn't work. It is pretty early, Christian. You're right. It is pretty early to make a move like that. All right, green flag. Back to green flag racing. Lane Riggs able to jump out to a quick lead. Gio not actually able to fire off this time. Probably should have taken 3rd there. So Ty Majeski, he shut the door immediately. Looks like Ty Majeski's going to slot into 2nd, possibly. He's not able to get a launch off the corner, though. He gets into the corner well, runs that inside line like it should. But on corner exit, he's not able to lay it back down. Michael says if he sees AI side by side at Martinsville, he won't take it 3 wide. That's the nice way to do it. Yeah, sometimes I'll just try, if I'm in that situation and I really need to make the spots up, sometimes I will go 3 wide, but I'll go early. Like I make sure I have a big run and I'm already there, not just dive bombing it late into the corner. That way the AI kind of already adjusts. Or I'll push the guy that's on the inside line really hard into the corner so he shoots up the track. And sometimes he'll go ahead and knock the guy in the outside lane up the track too. You get a little 2-for-1. So Gio Ruggiero actually able to get second place on the outside. Ty Majeski's truck just doesn't have the drive off right now. Good to see you back, Justin. Christian said, I believe Majeski and Riggs have the best shot at kicking Honeycutt and Ankrum out of the final 4. They're doing what they need to already. It's a really close battle. The truck's playoff bubble has been very close. 42 running through some dust, or maybe dust off of it. Oh, man. The 56 into the back of the 41. Some damage to the left rear of the 41. Remember, these are the old steel bodies, so that dent's not going to come out on its own. All right, Caden Honeycutt was looking to the inside there, trying to get around Heim, but Heim holding position in 4th right now. So Christian's looking at Majeski and Riggs to jump up in there. Caution for fluid on the racetrack. Maybe that's what we were seeing. It looks like, I forget which truck it was. I'd have to go back and see. Someone ran up more like 1.5 groove to maybe the 2nd groove, and I saw some kind of dust or something get kicked up. And right after that was when the checkup and the contact between the 56 and the 41 happened. So I wonder if that's Perez that laid down fluid. All right, back under commercial. So we've had 2 small runs. Without these 2 cautions, the stage would be probably over by now, or getting close. We're laying down some pretty decent lap times. So 1 caution for incident, 1 caution for fluid on the track. Hopefully we go back green soon. That's right, Martinsville has lights. Let's see if we have a replay of that last incident while we're under this caution. Yep, we do. We do. Let's go. All right, a little replay of the incident that put us under the first caution flag, and possibly why we have the fluid on the track right now. Christian said, can't wait to watch Connor Jones in the 41 either throw a fit on the 88 or the 56 like he did to Matt Mills at Homestead. Tempers can flare here. We'll see. So yeah, 3 wide move not working out. If the 44 wasn't there, it would have, you know, it was still an aggressive move, but it would have worked. With the 44 on the outside, it just did not work. I mean, nothing egregious was done there. Just maybe not the best time, but especially in these truck races, the laps go by very quickly. You know, it's hard to pass at this track. So yeah, you do have to have a little sense of urgency early on in these truck races. You know, it's not like the Cup race where you can ride around for 250 laps and then the last 250 turn it on. Let's go, Jamie, a little Colts fan. Just shouted him out. Let's go. Uh-oh. We might have an issue. Whoa! Several trucks are... Okay, okay. So Fox... The Fox broadcast said they were going to the choose cone. And then several drivers just drove right over it. That would have been a penalty for like 10 guys. But they're not actually hitting the choose cone this time around. So no penalties. No penalties. Great Fox coverage. They should be at the track. Maybe that wouldn't happen. So Ty Majeski complaining about the handling on the car. You know, he's running in third, but we already noted it just watching him race. He doesn't have the drive off. So this is interesting. After the choose, this time Giovanni Ruggiero took the inside line. So he slotted back to third, gave Ty Majeski the outside line. I think that's pretty smart. As the tires fade, you really don't want to be on that outside line trying to fight your way in. I think that's a good move. We'll see. Ty Majeski might be able to make that work. Michael Turner says Matt Mills went for fluid on the track. No, it makes sense. Oh, good to see you, Austin. Oh my goodness, Lane Riggs just stacked up the field. What was that? That was almost like a 20-car pile up there. So Ty Majeski slotting to the outside on the choose cone, cycling forward to the lead after that. Corey Heim in second currently. Wow. And that hurts, you know, by association, Giovanni Ruggiero. He was on the inside. Right now, Brendan Queen stuck on the outside. Not going to make up a ton of ground here at Martinsville like that. Whoo! What did Lane Riggs do there? And that's a mistake that might permanently alter Giovanni Ruggiero's day, along with Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs losing 5 positions. Giovanni losing 7 positions, I believe. Rough. Or 6 positions, yeah. So Ty Majeski was complaining about his truck, but he's pulled out to a nearly a half-second lead here. Not too bad. I guess drive off doesn't matter so much when you're in the lead. But Corey Heim, you know how he has won several of his races this year. He can just ride around. And, you know, a lot of times he won't be the best truck of the day. but he's there when it matters. You know, he capitalizes on other people's mistakes. And sometimes they just work on the truck and he gets better throughout the race. So keep an eye on Corey Heim. Yeah, handling should be better right now. I don't know if we're going to hit lap traffic. I'm behind. Norm Benning, 17 seconds down probably by now. We might hit a few lap cars. They're saying Rajah has damage. Yeah, pretty heavy damage to the nose of his Chevy Silverado. Ben Rhodes diving to the inside. He has damage on the rear. I wouldn't be surprised if Carruth was the one that got into the back of Rhodes. We might be seeing cause and effect here. Unfortunate day for Rajah, but it was announced that he is with Junior Motorsports for a part-time ride next season, and he'll be filling his other dates with one or two other teams. So good for him. If he can win in that Junior Motorsports car, he'll be eligible for the playoffs. Daniel Hemrick has his rear bumper beat in too. Like half the field has damage. Yeah, that's, you know, there were already a couple trucks with damage before this, but especially after lane rigs just stacked up half the field. Yeah, a lot of guys have damage from the lead. Of all the places to have a mistake. That's right, Double A. We're trucking at Martinsville. What time does the Xfinity race start tomorrow? 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 their time. Oh no! Caution. We stay straight. Norm Benning going around there. Front end is torn up. So last week had the car explode, basically. Caught on fire. Luckily, he was able to get out of the truck. But quite a bit of damage on the front of the 6. Daniel Hemrick. Oh, yeah. The rear end is pushed in. The nose is damaged. Oh, no. We see water out that right side. He's overheating. Maybe they can, you know, help that out. Clearance some damage, or if they have any tape on it, take it off. But that is not good for Hemrick. Yeah. I asked because I'll be landing in New York tomorrow at about the time this broadcast went live. Can you ask something of me? Always. If it's a bad question, I'll just ignore you. Yeah, it's tough about Daniel Hemrick. Yeah, Norm Benning's truck is way off the pace. To be that far back, just a handful of laps into stage 1. Can you have my Black Ops 7 monster codes? How many do you want? Because I want enough to get the skins, and I've already entered in a few, but I do have several that I could give you. Like, how many do you need? Five. You're in the Discord, right? I have them right here. I have them. I'll send them to you. It's a good question. Double A. Message. They're hard to see. They're really hard to see. Thankfully, you know, these images are zoomed in, so that might help a bit. That's one. That's two. That's three. We're about to go back green, but I'm going to keep sending these photos. Three wide. Only 4 laps to go in the stage. Raja Kruth really needs these stage points. Go Patrick Star, baby. Imagine if he was a star for the sport. That'd be hilarious. Actually gets a SpongeBob sponsorship. And that's 5. Got it. Got it, double A. I've been drinking these toxic diabetes cancer liquids, and now you're the one benefiting from it, double A. Green and white checker flag. Corey Heim taking the stage win. Ty Majeski second. Third, Grant Infinger. Fourth, Tyler Ankrum. Fifth, Tanner Gray. Sixth, Lane Riggs. Seventh, Caden Honeycutt. Eighth, Gio Ruggiero. Ninth, Raja Kruth getting 2 stage points. And 10th, Brent Cruz. They finally parked poor Norm. Yeah. It's probably not a bad decision. He was really off the pace. Really off the pace. All right, back under commercial. So far, it's been a pretty choppy race. We get a few really good laps in, and then we end up getting a string of cautions. Yeah, I should have been taking pictures of them this whole time. It's really hard to get like the right lighting to see the engraving, because if you're just looking at it in dull lighting or dim lighting, it is near impossible to see But if you get a little reflection on it, you can kind of see the code. Good thinking, Double A. Good thinking. Because I don't even know if I'm going to play much Black Ops 7. I'll try it out through Game Pass. Really just to play the campaign. But I might try a little multiplayer. The reason why I probably won't play it, a lot of it, is because none of my friends are going to get it. And also, on PC, when you download it through Battle.net, Call of Duty, you know, it downloads all the recent titles, including Warzone, all this stuff. So hundreds of gigs of storage. And then when you get it through Game Pass, you have to download the full game a second time. Even though it's already on your system, you have to download the full game a second time. So pretty annoying. Battlefield's a great game. Just more of a COD guy. Yeah, I mean, traditionally, I am. But when there's a good Battlefield out, I spend a ton of time on that. Especially because I don't play a lot of games just for my own entertainment. If I'm not streaming or if I'm not on with friends, I'm usually not playing a ton of games, if any at all. I've lost the love of the game, but yeah, so you know, since my buddies are on Battlefield and I really enjoyed this new one, that's where I've been allocating my time. The new CODs just don't do it for me. If they were still as enjoyable to me as 2019 and MW2 2022, I would still play Call of Duty. But the map design that they're going with and have in Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 isn't really conducive to how I like to play Search and Destroy. I like to take it slow, tactical, you know, hold angles, you know, try to stealth around, flank. These maps are like, you peek, it's a 50-yard gulf, you know, just no cover. And as soon as you peek, there's already a guy hard scoped right where your head's going to be. And they pop your head. I used to be a Treyarch guy. Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, World at War. Peak. That was peak Call of Duty. Black Ops 3, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the boost jumping, was still pretty playable. Black Ops 4 had Blackout. And the multiplayer brought back a lot of fan favorite Black Ops 1 maps. So I played a little bit of that. Then Cold War was a huge step down from MW 2019. It's super disappointing. Did not play a ton of Cold War other than the zombies and campaign. Christian Riley said Hemrick is the only playoff driver that didn't get stage points, so they're kissing his championship hopes goodbye. Yep, on pit road right now. See if they can get that thing fixed up. Oh, they have the pry bar out. Maybe they can get enough airflow to that motor, keep it from overheating. Had a piece of tape on the nose too, so maybe there's a hole punched in that can really affect the handling even at these short tracks. Personally, I think the best Call of Duty we've had in the last decade is MW 2019, and every single one after that's been a letdown. And like, I only play the one life modes. So search and destroy, knockout, prisoner rescue, cyber attack, those kind of things. I'm not out there in a meat grinder on team deathmatch or domination, getting blown up on the B flag over and over. Yeah, I didn't play much of the respawn modes. You know, I would do the occasional TDM or... Oh, the radiators broke? Well, that's not good. You might need that. It's not really the type of thing you can just patch up. All right, let's get this underway. Already 9 laps into stage 2, and we haven't really made any progress. The radiator's a must-have. Debatable. If it was like the last 10 laps of the race, go out there and give it everything you have. If it blows up, it blows up. This early in the race, yeah. It's kind of a death sentence. Christian said they did not park Norm. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens or if they just retire, because he was so far off the pace before the damage. I can only imagine what it's like now. And he's just going to be a rolling roadblock. Let's see how fast he falls off the base. Daniel Hemrick restarting on the inside. Ty Majeski on the outside. Grant Infinger back in third. Woo, we are all over the track. Lane Riggs tried to make an aggressive move to the inside there. The 15 went down to block. Is Lane Riggs going to go to the outside here? He is. Aggressive move there. Rajah will try to fill that hole if it's still open. He is driving it in there deep. He does not want to let Lane Riggs back down if he can help it. But he needs the drive off to close in, to actually close the hole. Lane Riggs still on the outside of Tanner Gray. They're right on the back of Tyler Ankrum, so Lane Riggs might have to get a 2 for here. Ty Majeski almost already a half second back from Corey Heim. Corey LaJoy 9th. Be interesting to see if he can drive up through the field somewhat. I think he started back around 12, 13, somewhere there, around there. Running 9th currently. Lane Riggs only able to make up 1 position since that missed shift on the restart. Playoff bubble as they run. Lane Riggs 7 under the cut line. Caden Honeycutt 9 below the cut line. So Rajah Kruth 7 to the good. Ty Majeski 10 to the good. Tyler Ankrum only 12 points above the cut line. Any of these guys, 1 mistake, they get pushed into the corner a little too hard. Back it into the outside wall. That's it. That's the season. Done. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if Corey Heim had the best truck today. I don't think he did at the start. It looked like Riggs kind of had things handled. But Heim doesn't seem like he's ever pushing it. he just runs his race and he takes advantage of other people's mistakes. And if he has the dominant truck, then yeah, he just rides around, and it's been a very impressive season. So I hope he wins the championship. He deserves it for sure. He's just always there, always in position. Whether his truck is the best or not, I mean, he's still there. So extremely impressive. Yeah, Zilich definitely does as well. The Cup Series, there's not a clear favorite. Because if you use the Winston Cup points format, it's pretty much between Bell and Briscoe. But if you use the full season points format, how they award points now, without the playoffs, Larson's like 1 point ahead of Byron or something, and Bell is only a handful back from that. So it's a 3-car race. Rajah Caruth around. Oh, he's out. He's missing the playoffs. Rajah's out. I just mentioned that outside wall. Day's over. Well, his playoff chances are over. He was 7 points to the good, and now he's out. Truck is stuck. He can't. That right front's just buried into the track. Now the left rear tire has sheared off from the wheel. Cut down the tire with Caden Honeycutt there. If anyone other than Logano wins, you can't really debate it. I mean, according to the points, Denny Hamlin doesn't deserve to win a championship this year. Winston Cup or the full season. As far as I'm concerned, there's like 4 guys that would be legitimate. Larson, Byron, Bell, and Briscoe. They would be legitimate champions. Denny's kind of on the fringe, you know. He's not leading any of the points battles. He's not even that close. But, you know, he has had a really good year. Christian Riley said he heard some compelling Xfinity rumors. Parker Retzlaff isn't returned to Alpha Prime, and his team owner, Cesar Baccarella, said he's moving to a better team. And someone said AM Racing, possibly. That's possible. You know, you never really know what's going to happen in the lower series. Usually it's just like a cascading effect. The Cup Series gets set. Then the Xfinity Series kind of scrapes up whoever didn't get a Cup ride. And so on, down to trucks. ARC is its own thing. Off of wins, you could say that. But if you look at both of the points formats, Winston Cup and the current full season points, he's not a threat to win. And Larson's had the better year. Yeah, Caruth is out. I agree. I think Hamlin's had a better season, but it's not showing in the points. You know, it's a case of what Jeff Gordon did several times. You can go out and win 6-7 races in a season, but if you also have several DNFs or several bad finishes to go with it, you lose the points lead. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying, Double A. Bang. Spot on. Spot on. You can light the world on fire and win the most races in a season, but if you don't have the consistent finishes otherwise, then you know, it doesn't work out. Christian said he could see Redsloff to AM because of how well he did with RSS, and he could see Ford wanting him back for good this time, plus pushing Burton to the win at Daytona probably helps him with Ford. That's a good point. It's a good point. Some manufacturer goodwill, never a bad thing. It's just that there's not a lot of Ford teams, you know? So I wish Ford had at least one more, you know, 2-3 car team in Xfinity, and maybe even a few more trucks outside of the Cup Series. I mean, Ford is kind of a pretty weak manufacturer. Brad needs to do it. I like that. Bring back Brad Keselowski Racing or whatever it was called, whatever his team was. Brad, he earned a lot of respect from me when he didn't gain respect for me. I gained respect of him. Put it that way. When NASCAR switched to this next-gen body, a lot of the fabricators lost their jobs. And Brad personally said, hey, if you are affected by this, reach out to me and I'll try to find somewhere for you. And some of the people went to work for him. So he, you know, was trying to keep people employed and in the industry. Really nice move there. Double A said, don't know how much power Jack still has over the team, but you can see Brad moving the team to Dodge. That would be really interesting. That'd be really interesting. Penske's really close to Ford in the Cup Series. They talk about it all the time, the Ford heritage. Brad Keselowski, you know, was a big Ford guy while he was there, but they have history of being with Dodge. So, I mean, Penske, they're kind of the premier Ford team, so would they want to give that up? Probably not. But it'll be interesting to see if we do get another manufacturer, which anchor team will they go with? Because, you know, Colleague's the one that everyone throws out, but I think a big manufacturer is probably going to want at least one big team, an established team that's already successful, and then maybe either start their own or, you know, buy up some of these smaller groups. Kind of have their own version of Red Bull. And then, like, Colleague would kind of fill the space of what Michael Waltrip Racing did in the Cup Series. In my opinion, I could be wrong. Lane rigs all over the back of Grant Enfinger. Lane rigs into fourth. Will we see retaliation? Grant Enfinger diving it back down in there, but they stay clean. Tyler Ankrum to the inside of Tanner Gray. Legacy needs to go to Dodge. I love that idea, Michael. Christian said, just imagine we can now go to Phoenix with the final four being Heim, Majeski, Ankrum, and Riggs. That's a pretty good top four. I would kind of like to see Caden Honeycutt get in there because of how his season's gone. But it would be pretty disappointing for Riggs to miss because he's had a good season. Corey Heim almost out to a full second lead already. 16 laps to go in stage 2. Michael said Legacy needs to go to Dodge. 43 Cup cars return to Dodge. That's right. Yeah, that's a really good point on so many levels. You know, there's the history of it, but also, you know, they're a big name brand with, you know, the Petty legacy and Jimmy Johnson involved. But right now, they're like, what would you say, the third, fourth Toyota team on the rung? So probably not a ton of manufacturer support from Toyota. And really, since they switched over to Toyota, they haven't really shown much promise. So a change is needed somewhere. But the Petty equipment wasn't the best, and that team was a pretty bare bones operation. So, you know, Jimmy took over what was an already sunken ship. So it does take a while to turn around. You know, it took Brad a few years with Roush Fenway, and that's arguably much better equipment. If people like the final three, because we all know Ankrum and winning a championship. Yeah, that's the one guy that I wouldn't really care to see in the final four. The other three are solid. But you never know. The trucks get wild at Phoenix. We could see 3 overtime restarts, if not more. More than likely, it'll just be a Corey Heim domination, though. A lot of beat up trucks already. We're not even halfway through this. Lane Riggs right now with the fastest lap. 1 bonus point there. That could be the point that locks him in. Caden Honeycutt needs to make up some ground here. Coming to 8 to go. He's stuck on the outside of Norm Binning there. Not going to have a great drive off. He needs to try to get past Brent Cruz. At least get 1 more point here. Seems like too little too late. If Riggs doesn't make it in, he is literally in the... Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. NBA on Prime tips off now. Celtics versus Knicks. All right. Coming around to 4 to go. Corey Heim already 48 laps led. Do I have an NBA team? Yes, I own the Phoenix Suns. 100% stake. I'm the reason we haven't won a title. If Riggs doesn't make it in, another reason to go with full season points format. I mean, there's a really good chance that Zelich or Heim doesn't win or do not win, whatever, next week. So look for that. With all this talk about the NBA betting and the gambling and all that, you know, Michael Jordan is a prolific gambler. It would not be outside of the realm of possibility that he's involved, because the Charlotte Hornets have been named as one of the teams that was participating. I'm sure the NBA will protect Michael. All right, Corey Heim sweeping stage 1 and 2. Lane Riggs back up to 3rd. Tyler Ankrum 6th. Kate Honeycutt 8th. Daniel Hemrick in 20th. They need to park the 22. He almost crashed both the 11 and the 98. Oh my goodness. It's crazy that people are digging up like Chauncey Billups. He was hosting charity poker events and stuff. All right, back on a commercial. Seems like we've been under commercial for half this broadcast. Let's see if we have any other replays posted to the Xfinity, not Xfinity, to the truck Twitter. I'm used to saying Xfinity. Yeah, we do have a few things to show off. So Carruth, his night, his season over. Devastating. He was 7 points to the good. He was, you know, looking like he was going to lock himself in on points if he, you know, had held on. Even with the damage, I mean, he had been running pretty well. There he goes. Cutting down a left rear. Nothing he could do there. Daniel Hemrick getting work on pit road. Wonder what Rajah's going to do when he's not in the 88. I think there's already rumors out about which teams he might run with, but off the top of my head, I cannot remember which teams. But you know, as long as he runs every race, which currently that's the plan. If he can win a single race in the junior motorsports equipment, he will be eligible for the drivers championship. So that'll be interesting. And what would be really, really interesting is if that 88 wins with or without him, because then it would be locked in for the owners championship. And at that point, do you put Rajah in it full time for the playoffs to try to, if they do playoffs next year, to try to, you know, get that money, because the owners championship pays out really well. This was wild. The checkup on the restart almost killed the half the field. A lot of guys getting damage here. Rajah Carruth being one of them. A lot of rear bumpers messed up. Ben Rhodes, a lot of damage. Yeah, he said he couldn't get the truck into 3rd or 4th. Christian said not numbered or announced yet, but his guess is the 32. Yeah, that's Rajah's plan right now. He said as much on Twitter that because somebody was tweeting, you know, if he wins in the 88, he would be eligible for a championship if he runs with a second team. And he's like, that's the vision. All right, coming down pit road. Ty Majeski down, Tyler Ankrum, Caden Honeycutt. It's like most of our leaders came down. Not really a lot of decent trucks still out on track, so Probably all the competitive guys for the most part in Corey Heim, Ty Majeski, Tanner Gray, Kate Nanika, Lane Riggs, Grant Infinger, Connor Jones, Matt Crafton, Dawson Sutton, I believe, and Ben Rhodes. That's how they exited pit road. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You have to run all the races unless you have like an event, you know, like an injury or you're suspended, whatnot. So yeah, as long as he runs with another team, he can run with as many teams as he wants. As long as he wins a race and locks himself in and, you know, attempts every race. Slow stop for Tyler Ankrum there. That could be fatal. Because if they run green, they don't have to come back down. Tyler's going to have to make up a lot of ground. And we're already 8 laps into this third stage. Rajah Kruth getting interviewed right now. Silverado. I got you, Michael. Did Rajah get stage points? I think he did in stage 1, but let me double check. Five leaderboard. Stage 1. Rajah got 2 stage points. That's what I thought. 2 stage points. All right. Brent Cruz on the inside. Giovanni Ruggiero running a good race until Lane Riggs missed a shift. He's restarting on the outside. We have a mixed bag. Corey Heim restarting 10th. Good to see you, JC, by the way. Good to see you. JC, I need you to carry the broadcast for me this weekend. I need you to broadcast the Xfinity and the Cup race because I will be gone for the next few days. He screwed. That was the only thing he cared about. Yeah. Really disappointing. He was 7 points above the cut line right before the incident. And even with the damage, it looks like he might do just enough to get in. And just went wrong. Yeah, especially with the field jumbled up here. Guys staying out at the front of the field. We could definitely see a rash of cautions. You don't even... Yeah, the playoffs are very frustrating. If Heim and Zilich do not win their championships, we need to march on Charlotte. We need to burn down NASCAR HQ. We'll also go to the Daytona Beach office and burn that one down as well. With consent, obviously. We're not gonna do any crimes. This is gonna be illegal arson. We are 3 wide back through the field. These guys are all over each other. Corey Heim's still back there in 10th. Ty Majeski actually able to get by him currently, but not able to slot into that inside lane. Yeah, you know, NASCAR, the rumor was that they were open possibly to going back to full season points, but the rumor as of now seems like they're leaning towards the final round of 4 races. Or possibly even the chase. That's the latest rumor I heard, is maybe they're considering going back to the chase. That's better, but it's not good. Full season points are bust. Our leader's not able to move back through the field. This is really good for Giovanni Ruggiero. Able to get out there and hold that lead for a while. Ty Majeski able to get by Heim. Heim all over the back of Majeski. Lane Riggs on the back of Caden Honeycutt. Christian said, I'm curious now if Rajah is going to Xfinity, who replaces him at Spire. The Spire downsize to 2. I don't really think Spire would downsize, but it could be a possibility. Rajah probably staying full-time in trucks. I think he could use the seat time. That wouldn't be a terrible decision. I don't know. Corey Heim, maybe, you know, I don't see him switching manufacturers, but that wouldn't be a terrible pick. Justin Haley's a name I have heard, but, you know, he's been let go from the Cup team. Did they really want to keep him around? It's a little awkward to demote someone, but it's happened before. Cole Custer got demoted, so there is a precedent. So Corey Heim able to get back by Ty Majeski. We have 5 trucks just all next to each other. There we go. Heim finally to the inside of the 81 there. Imagine Corey Heim cuts a tire down. Ty Majeski finally able to clear the 81. Connor Mozak tried to slot in there. Not able to make it. Lane Riggs got to the inside. Caden Honeycutt's going to try to follow him through. Connor Mozak's just sliding back. Okay. He's now slotted back into the inside lane again. I fully expect Caden Honeycutt to move him up the track. Norm Benning just rolling around, rolling chicane. He shouldn't even be on track right now. They asked Raj on qualifying earlier. He said he's not returning. There's no scheduled truck races. Interesting, interesting. Going all in on Xfinity. The cut line battle is down to 1 point. Lane Riggs is only 3 points above the cut line, but Lane Riggs has room to move up through the running order. Caden Honeycutt, also some room to improve as well. So as they currently run, I think Honeycutt's in a better position overall. Ankram's going to need some things to go his way to move back up through the field. Is anyone from Arcar Cars Tour ready to move up? I think Landon Huffman could if he had the funding. I think he's pretty solid driver. I think a lot of the guys from the Cars Tour could move up and be competitive in trucks. Possibly even Xfinity. Christian said it's going to be a fight for Anchorman Honeycutt. Yeah, it'll be really important to see if Honeycutt can get by these guys that have stayed out. Because right now, he hasn't been able to get around... well, as I say that, he just gets around Connor Mozak. But he needs to move up. But if everything runs as expected, you know, no incidents, he should move up past a few more guys. I'm not sure either. What's Mike Skinner doing next year? Let's get the GOAT of the truck series back in a truck. Tabadine, he's probably not busy. Let's get him. He can report. He can do the pit report from the car. So Heim currently has a gap back to Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs would have to close in over a second and a half. So now only... Well, now there's no truck separating them. Heim 5th, Lane Riggs 6th. This may come down to a 2-car. Ron Hornaday, that's a really good pick. That's a really good pick. Yeah, let's bring Ron Hornaday back. Connor Hall, yeah, I think that's a good pick. There's a lot of good drivers in the Cars Tour. They absolutely wheel those things. In just a few years, we're going to be talking about Brexton and Keelan. Those are two guys that are destined to make their way up at least to Xfinity, probably the Cup. Imagine if Gio wins 2 in a row. Well, not looking great. He lost the lead to Brent Cruz, and I don't know if he has the pace to run him back down. He had such a good race going to, just holding second place early on, but Lane Riggs missing that shift changed the whole day for him. I said it could happen. I said, you know, this could be the, you know, the thing that changes their whole day. And it has. Gio lost so much track position, wasn't able to get it back. Now he's off cycle with the leaders. Watching Brexton and Keelan battling it out in a few years is going to be fun. Yeah. Oh, 22 in the wall. We have a caution. This is very interesting. Does someone try to gamble and pit here? If, like, does a guy like Tyler Ankrum come in and pit? It's really hard to pass here, but maybe with some fresh rubber, if they have tires left. You know, if you're going to follow the leader, you're destined to follow the leader. So you might have to do something different here. Just not sure if it's worth it. Yeah, we still have a few more years. But I think around 2030 is when Brexton will be able to jump in part-time. '22 cannot get it going back straight. Did he just beach the car? He's stuck on the entrance to pit road. we might burn 12 laps here if they don't get this truck moved. But that's currently the plan. It could change, but Busch wants to run until 2030 in the Cup Series and then retire, but just from the Cup Series, and then run a few seasons in the truck. So I guess run part-time initially, and then once he retires from Cup, he wants to try to win one last truck championship. Christian said, seen something after Dega that said the last Tricon driver to win that wasn't Heim was like 2019. Oh my goodness. That's a pretty wild stat. So Regan Smith just brought up what I said before the commercial break. He's saying Tyler Ankrum should probably come down. It's difficult. It's a difficult decision. And let's say you go back in the pack with the fresher rubber. You try to make your way to the front, but you get caught up in someone else's accident. Someone misses a shift. Someone cuts your tire down. You know, when you go back in the pack, you're going to deal with back of the pack shenanigans. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Brexton lands in the Truck Series and if Kyle takes any kind of an ownership. So the interesting thing, so it hasn't been officially said yet, I don't believe. Usually contracts are kept somewhat secretive unless it's just an extension. But Suarez may just have a one-year deal. And for that 7. So the existing rumor is that potentially Kyle stays with RCR for next season. And then the following season moves to the 7. So that could be interesting. The thing that could change all of that up is the lawsuit that's still ongoing between 2311 and Front Row. That could shift the whole landscape of NASCAR. And then also if we get another manufacturer in the Cup Series, because if I was building a Cup team, you know, with a new manufacturer, blank slate, you need a veteran. You need a guy like a Kurt Busch that has the experience and can help, you know, lead a young team. Maybe Kyle could be that guy. Maybe. McDowell could retire after next season. That's an interesting possibility I haven't heard mentioned. All right, we're almost down to 50 laps to go. Ankrum's an idiot. He stayed out. Hemrick did pit, so he's in prime position. That's crazy that Ankrum stayed out. He wasn't really running through the field at all. Even the guys, you know, further back, he wasn't really having great success passing. But maybe the truck's just so bad, they figure even if we do pit on fresh rubber, we're not going to run through the field. We might get back to where we are now, but overall, we're not going to gain. Interesting strategy there. Yeah, I don't know if you guys follow him, but Brexton has a YouTube account. It's really like Kyle Busch's second account, but yeah, they'll upload over there. And then Kyle uploads a lot of Brexton content. So if you're interested in keeping up with Brexton, it's very easy to do. Just speaking of family of drivers, I saw Joey Logano's sister turning laps at Joey Logano's like private at-home go-kart track. She was zooming, absolutely zooming. I think we got the worst Logano. I think his sister may be better. I think his sister could win a full season points format, unlike Logano. I think Keelan's a little older. Unless they think they were going to get more cautions, Ankrum. Yeah, I mean, a rash of cautions could change things. Ankrum's just right on that cut line, so if he had pit, it might have been a bigger risk. I just think there might be a few faster drivers behind Ankrum, so he could lose spots here. Keelan's 13. There we go. Michael's the knower. He knows things. It's been fun watching Keelan and Kevin race each other. All right, Brent Cruz back out to the lead. Chandler Smith second, third, Gio Ruggiero, and fourth, the Terminator going for the pass for third, Corey Heim. This is Lane Riggs' opportunity. If he wants a shot at this win, he needs to stay right on the bumper of Corey Heim and possibly wreck him. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that's maybe what you have to do to beat Heim at this point. He's had a solid truck ever since he grabbed the lead. Took him a while to get past these slower cars, though. Could we see Keelan part-time in trucks? Oh, yeah, we could. The opinion, though, on the truck series is really soured over the last few years. So, like, I wouldn't be shocked to see more guys run the Cars Tour. Or maybe, you know, MX5 or, you know, some other series. And then just jump right to Xfinity. Trucks is slowly morphing into the ARCA series. Tony Breidinger. And Patrick Starr. Yep, we called it before the race. That's a good looking truck too. That 5. Golly. Corey LaJoy, the murderer. Did she come down the track, or did Corey just murder Tony Breidinger? Show us another replay. Run it back. That was wild. It's still driving. Corey LaJoy, man. I think we need to lock him up. We need to deport Corey LaJoy. I mean, she was pretty far down though. So did Corey dive it in there? Like, I want to see a replay of that. Because, I mean, obviously Corey was there. he absolutely drove through Tony Breidinger. But we'll see. Hopefully we can get a replay soon. Chris, from the snippet I saw, it looks like she was already dedicated to that inside line, and Corey just went like pretty much right up against the pit wall, took a shallow entry and took her out. That's what it looked like from what I saw. I need to see it again. Very frustrating when they show one replay and they're like, that's it, we're not showing it again. No more replays. I'm waiting for a replay. 5 minutes ago, they posted a post for the last caution, so we might be a couple minutes out from getting a replay. Yeah, that truck wasn't too damaged. Not sure what their tire situation is. You may have slid the tires there, and I don't know if they have fresh ones, so they may have to put scuffs on. Might not have the tires, but they have the driver. We shall see. You know, this could just evolve into a caution fest. I really expected it on the last two restarts because we had the slower cars out front. Still no replay. I'm not sure we'll get one before we go back green. Hi, Majeski. Brake problems. Sounds like maybe his brakes got a bit too hot, and maybe it's started to evaporate and bubble up the brake fluid. Regan Smith is explaining it right now. Exactly what I was talking about. So yeah, brakes get hot, they'll boil off the brake fluid, and when the driver says they're having to pump it, they're, you know, pretty much pushing out that air to get back to having brake fluid. That's a not elegant way to describe it. Who needs brakes when you have rear bumpers? That's exactly right. That is exactly right. That's... If I'm back through the field and I've been done dirty at Martinsville, that's how I drive. I'll be all over the back of people. 4 wheels. Not as good as 8 wheels. Even better than 8 wheels? 12 wheels. Engram's definitely getting in and winning the championship. Okay. Double A calling the shot. That would be wild. As they run, Ankrum 3 above the cut line. Honeycutt 2 below. Oh my goodness. Ankrum's going to do it, isn't he? And Riggs might miss the playoffs. Oh, now he's just 1 above. It is so close. Chandler Smith up the track. Corey Heim to the outside. They make a little contact. Chandler Smith's probably done here. See if Lane backs off, or if he's going to screw over his teammate. He's slowing up his teammate right now. Corey Heim's pulling away. Brent Cruz still in the lead, but we'll see how long that lasts. He's been doing pretty well out front. As they run, Honeycutt 2 below the cut line. Ankrum 2 above the cut line. Tied with Lane Riggs. And is that a caution? 45 smoking on track. Did he perhaps drop fluid? Daniel Hemrick off the track. Out of the race. They fought. They fought as hard as they could. Oh my goodness. Lane Riggs could miss the playoffs. He needs to get around Chandler Smith desperately. Desperately. And he really needs Brent Cruz to get shoved up the track. He needs to finish second. As they run, Tyler Ankrum, it keeps jumping between 1 point above and 2 point above. Very, very close. Honeycutt could definitely crash anyone to get into the final four. Ankrum has the most room to move up, but I have not been super impressed by that truck. This is wild. What if Caden Honeycutt knocked out Lane Riggs to get into the final four? Those brakes are hot. The brakes are glowing on the 52. Double A said, let's see if Heim let Cruz win. Cruz is just running a great race right now. We'll see if tires will fall off anytime soon. Still a long way to go. 27 laps. But they'll go by fast without a caution. Ankrum's at the back of the 41. This could be an additional point here. And Ankrum into the back of the 41. He can't risk cutting down a tire here. But this position could move him into the final four. Or, well, secure his spot. That would drop Lane Riggs below into the fourth position. I don't mind that. If it's a bit excessive, you know, I'll call it out, but our sport needs aggressive drivers. Connor Jones. Whoa! Ankrum, I think, just tried to bump and run on Jones, but couldn't hit the back bumper. Washed up the track. Connor Jones just fought back. They made contact, and he's holding his position. With that crushed bumper, he may not have much to push on. If Gio Ruggiero can get by Connor Mozak, Ankrum is in trouble. He's close. He's close. Oh, aggressive goes around. Connor Mozak in the wall. Caution. Oh my goodness. This is going to stack the field back up. I don't think that benefits Tyler Ankrum. Yeah, Jones was racing really tough there. You know, racing a playoff guy that tough, that's something. That's definitely a decision. Yeah, did you see that Miata get into the pit barrels? That was wild. And the camera angle they shot it from made it look like the car disappeared in the sand. It was just blocked by the garage area. Ankrum angry with the 41. Patrick started to be back. He's P19 already. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, shouldn't have to lay over, but man, especially in this playoff format, it's rough. Like, it's one thing to race them close, but to be as aggressive as they just were, that's a bit much for this format. If it was a season-long points thing, it wouldn't matter as much. You know, people are like, well, in a season-long points format, if the points are close, it's still matter. I just puncture my thumb. Oh, it's like I diabetes tested. What do I do with this blood? Oh, there's so much. Golly, my nails are bleeding. My thumb's bleeding now. I've had a rough day. Okay. Yeah, in a season-long points format, what I was saying, like, you can say, like, oh, if they're, you know, it can still come down to a few points, so you can have that argument in the season-long. Well, in the season-long points format, if someone gets raced hard and they have an issue, they get wrecked, whatever, you should have ran better the other, you know, 35 races of the season. You know, less for trucks, obviously, but, you know, it's a lot easier to balance that stuff out. If you run consistent throughout the season, and at the end of the year, you get wrecked by somebody, it's not going to hurt as much. I'm bleeding pretty good. Doc, hey, you okay, man? Dude, someone told me this trick when my dog starts doing that thing with his palate. He starts like reverse sneezing. If I cover one of his nostrils, it stops immediately. It's like magic. It's magic. Kristen said Bailey Curry gets his lap back here after his smoke incident. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild stuff. All right, we're under 20 laps to go. Coming to 15 to go. When they have a pace truck in the truck series, it makes me laugh so hard because they're ginormous compared to the actual trucks. All right, Brent Cruz restarting on the inside. Corey Heim on the outside. This is Corey Heim's opportunity to get the lead. How hard is Brent Cruz going to race Corey Heim? Corey Heim's locked in. He can go as hard as he wants, in my opinion. Woo! He just shoved Corey Heim up the track. Or not really shoved him up, but ran him up the track. Very aggressive. Lane Riggs one below the cut line. Caden Honeycutt able to make the most of that restart. Another caution. Oh my goodness, Lane Riggs is about to miss the cut line. Was that Bailey Curry again? Bailey Curry, what are you doing, man? Truck looks pretty intact compared to a lot of the guys running up towards the front. Cautions breed cautions, and cautions breed like rabbits. It's my bandage. It's stuck. I tried to take it off and it's just dried now. You might have to change your stance. I think that maybe should have happened a while back. I can't defend this playoff format at all. It creates so much unnecessary issues. You know, you have to... I just don't understand why the playoffs are necessary in general, because even when we were doing the chase or the season-long points, guys would be mathematically eliminated. And so the field naturally shrunk. You didn't have to artificially do it. Imagine, you know, you have a guy like Tony Stewart who gets really hot in the postseason and gets enough points to win the championship. Well, if we had a playoff format, imagine they have a bad first round, they get eliminated, but then they go on to win 6 of the last, you know, 6 of the last, however many races, 6 of the last, whatever. You guys know what I'm trying to say. 6 of the last 7. Yeah. You know, something like that. The Tony Stewart-like run. Or a Jimmy Johnson chase type run. I just can't defend the playoffs. I don't like the chase is better, but I don't even like the chase. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. We went from 10 drivers to 12 drivers. Now we're at 16. It's why should half the field get into the postseason? Doesn't make sense. How do we have the guy 14th in points winning the championship? That shouldn't happen in any series. Imagine if it was football and the 14th seeded team, you know, let's say they're like 7 and 8. You know, they shouldn't, you know, be playing in the playoffs. But with how we do it in NASCAR, they would be, and they would have an equal shot. at it, which is wild. Like in the NBA, you take a team that's like third in their division, put them into the postseason. Ty Majeski in the wall. Only 8 laps to go. Ty Majeski could be in trouble. He's still going. Tanner Gray up the track. We're racing really rough. Tyler Ingram taking good opportunity there. Majeski kind of moved Connor Jones up the track. Riggs is going to miss the playoff. Unless Majeski cuts down a tire or, you know, falls off. Majeski might miss. Oh my goodness, Majeski. Majeski might miss. Oh, Connor Jones around. We have a giant caution. We have a giant wreck. I agree with that, Double A. The problem with the stage cautions, my only problem with them, you know, it does break up the flow of the race at some of these tracks. So I think it should be on a track-by-track basis whether or not we have the actual stage caution. I would like to get rid of them completely, but if we have them, get rid of them definitely at road courses, super speedways, or if it's a track that's just known for strategy, maybe like a Pocono. Anyway. They take too long. We'll run 10 laps under stage caution, and it takes 15 minutes to go back green. And one of the reasons we implemented stage cautions is so the TV networks could show a bunch of ads, like in NFL halftime, you know, like kind of like that deal, or like a timeout in the NFL. That's the nearest analogy. But even with the stage cautions, we're still getting commercials under green, and a lot of them full screen. So we're not really benefiting the way we should be from having the stage cautions. Ty Majeski thinks he has a flat. He's feeling the truck out. On the wall hard. Lane Riggs out front. Yeah, I feel like at a lot of these road courses, to help alleviate that issue, they should have some kind of a joker lap for the cautions, not run the full course once the field gets screwed back up, you know, just shortcut around some way. You know, if the track format doesn't allow that, that's fine, but it just, at Circuit of the Americas, at the old layout, it was like 30 minutes for a stage caution. You could get up, you could go get food, you could go to the restroom, and still have plenty of time to get back to your seat and bake under the hot Texas sun. Miserable. I didn't really like COTA. The facilities were pretty nice, but it's just not the best fan experience compared to oval racing, because you can't see the full track. You know, where I was sitting in between turns 15 and 16, the cars go behind you, so they're completely out of your view, so you can't see the battle to the line. So you're sitting there watching one of the tiny infield screens. I mean, sure, you could see plenty of track, but you couldn't see the whole thing, and that's just takes away from it a little bit. Plus, I was there for a next-gen race, so that makes it even worse. Yeah, well, NASCAR 25 couldn't do that, because imagine you're running a 13% race, so there's only 2 laps per stage. If they counted caution laps, you would restart like you would end stage 1 and restart in stage 3. So, yeah, it's out of control at Bristol. That's for sure. And it's not just the stage cautions. It's cautions in general take way too long now. you know, at local tracks, they, you know, pull out a tractor or an old truck and they get the car off the track a lot faster than these NASCAR crews do it. And it seems like it's just gotten worse with the AMR safety team. Overall, they're a bit more professional and they do a decent job, but they're a bit slow. Except for the Roval. The Roval, I would not mind going to see in person. And I want to go see Watkins Glen. I may possibly go to the Rolex 24 this next year, so we'll see. I almost went last year. Riggs needs to send it here. I hope he took the inside. I mean, he may take the outside. He did take the outside. Man, I don't know if I like that call. Brent Cruz has a pretty, you know, decent truck. Like the inside, maybe you could shove somebody up the track. Overtime. This is the pay window. Can Lane Riggs hold on? Or not hold on. Can Ty Majeski hold on? Can Lane Riggs make up the ground? Coming around, white flag, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Lane Riggs is all over the back of Brent Cruz. He's to the inside. Lane Riggs is just going to get it. It may have not been enough. Honeycutt and Riggs tied. Oh my goodness. Riggs and Honeycutt tied. Honeycutt gets the tiebreaker. Tyler Ankrum will make the final 4. Ty Majeski and Tyler Ankrum only getting in by a single point. Lane Riggs missing the playoffs. Are missing this final 4. They're saying Honeycutt has it. I would think Riggs would have it, but they're saying Honeycutt does. Another Corey Heim win. That's good. I like to see success for, you know, rewarded like this. Lane Riggs did get the Xfinity fastest lap, but I don't know if that was totaled in yet. I guess it was. That's super disappointing for Lane Riggs. If I was Lane Riggs, I would go out and crash half the field. I would literally crash out. He had a great year. Lane Riggs made the pass he needed to make, but Caden Honeycutt did just enough. That's right, Christian. Second at Martinsville. That's right. That's the playoff system. That's the playoff system. This is what NASCAR wants. They want the most deserving drivers to miss the final 4. And then next week we might, you know, let's say Caden Honeycutt is up there. They restart in overtime. Yeah, he's probably going to wreck Corey Heim if he can get to his bumper. How about that? Congratulations to Corey Heim, Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum, Caden Honeycutt. Disappointing for Lane Riggs. The way he put on that hat, it was. I guess he was adjusting his hair. Is what it was, trying to get it to lay differently. Well, that's our race, gentlemen. We will not be live tomorrow for the Xfinity race. Probably will not be live for the Cup race, as I'll be gone. If I'm in my hotel, I might go live for a bit. I'm just about to have 11 wins and finish 4th in the championship. Very possible. Very possible. That's it. That's it, folks. We only have one more truck race. Heading to Phoenix, where it gets pretty wild. Good interview by Lane Riggs here. Basically, he's dumping on the playoff system. That's a good point he brought up. You know, without missing that shift, Lane Riggs probably in. Yes, we should be back Tuesday. I don't know if we'll go live Tuesday, but at the latest, we'll probably be back live Wednesday, Thursday of next week. We'll probably end up doing a Phoenix 100% race, or at least we might try to. Not sure what series we'll run in. I really like my ARCA setup, so we might do ARCA 100%, and then maybe throw in like a Xfinity or something, but might do that. NASCAR 25, you know, only a couple weeks out for the PC release. So we're going to try to get done with our career on that. After this, we might actually go live again because my wife is gone. She's at some charity event or something. So, yeah, we may not be done for the night. So might see you guys here in just a bit. But yeah, we're going to try to have a good trip. I'm going to try to get a little bit of content. I don't think I'm going to take my gimbal. So I don't think I'm going to go live in the city. I don't like filming and taking a lot of videos during my trips. I like to experience it. I also don't like to look like a tourist that's just like, oh, you know, look at all this stuff. Because I've been there several times. We're going to get a vlog? Unlikely. I've wanted to do vlogs before. I took a lot of video on my trip to Europe last year. And it just didn't turn out the way I liked it. The GoPro is good at action shots, but not good at just taking random footage. And also the aspect ratio is different between my GoPro footage and my phone footage. And I just never put it together. But yeah, the GoPro sucks in low light. If I don't take my gimbal, I might take the GoPro just to get a little footage. Not sure what I would do with the footage of. Maybe crossing the Brooklyn Bridge, maybe taking the Staten Island ferry past the Statue of Liberty. Not sure what we're doing. I have a few rough ideas, but really the only things that I have set in stone is obviously I'm visiting the 9/11 Memorial because the hotel is like right next to it. I usually stay down there by Ground Zero. It's like, well, you know, walk out my hotel, there it is. So go to the memorial. Might do the observatory. Because I've done it once before, but it was cloudy. Then pizza. So pizza, like first thing when we get there tomorrow evening. And then Sunday at 11:30, I'm going to be at John's on Bleecker Street when it opens. So I can go get a pie. I'm going to be there before it opens. You know, you got to get there like 20, 30 minutes early to get a good spot in line. Gonna get pizza then, and then Monday may go into Brooklyn and get some pizza out there. So I just have pizza scheduled. This is really just a pizza vacation. I'm just there for the pizza. Oh, I'm flying, baby. Well, driving a bit. I have to drive to the airport, and it's a decent drive too because it's not my local airport. The flights are cheaper if I fly elsewhere. That's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying to have to drive, especially it's horrible traffic, and then, you know, go on the trip, get back exhausted from the trip, and then have to drive all the way back. Oh my goodness. But I got my oil change, got my tires aired up, I'm ready to go. A pizza tour, that's right. That's really what a lot of my wife and I do, is like, we have things that we have planned to do, but like, she usually just has foods she wants to try, specific foods. Like, she always is trying to find a good bagel in New York City. Been multiple times, and I don't think she's had a satisfying bagel yet. So she may just be picky. But I look up specific restaurants. I look up places wherever we're at, you know, even smaller places like Knoxville. And I'm trying to look up places to go eat. Try out some decent food that's, you know, not a super touristy destination. So I try to like go in the local pages and see what opinions those people have of the restaurant. And it's worked out pretty well. We've gotten some good ones. I don't think we've really had a terrible experience. Double A. Interesting you bring that up. Because I eat at McDonald's. Not like, I'll eat at McDonald's maybe like twice a year here when I'm at home. But when I'm traveling, oh, I'll tear up McDonald's while I'm traveling. Because for the most part, when you have McDonald's, it's the same experience no matter where you're at. When I was overseas in Europe, I ate at McDonald's probably 5 times. Maybe not that much, but it was definitely a few times. The first time was just because I wanted to see if there was a difference. There's not really. Maybe our fries were a bit better. There's probably a little healthier. They also don't have a great soda selection. You basically have Coke, Diet Coke, Fanta, and Sprite. That's about it. Pretty much everywhere you go. Not great selection. But the European Fanta is really good. But anyway. I was really sick at the time. I couldn't really keep anything down. I would brush my teeth and get sick. I could eat cereal and get sick. Just wasn't keeping anything down. And so I knew McDonald's was a safe bet. Like, okay, I can get down some nuggets. Or I can get down, you know, some fries in a smoothie or something, whatever. And because just different things would just make me even more sick. It was a hard time. I didn't realize how sick I was at the time. I didn't know why I was getting sick like that. But that's mostly over. Doodlebug, good to see you. You're coming in right at the tail end. Right at the tail end of the broadcast. Good to see you, though. We may be live with something else after this. Probably not NASCAR. I mean, I could move the green screen and do that. But I think I want to finish Titanfall. I don't think we'll get many viewers, you know. NASCAR would definitely be a more successful stream. That's probably what I should do. Doodlebug says Honeycutt doesn't need to be in Champ 4. What has he even done? Well, he's done it with 2 different teams. It's pretty impressive. And, you know, it's good to see Stuart Friesen's truck get in the playoffs. Shame that Stuart got injured. What a race that was. A mess of cautions. Christian said didn't even notice Heim won until they were interviewing him. Yeah. I mean, he's not out there like tearing it up. On several weeks, you know, some weeks he's just dominated, but usually he's just out there running his own race. And whether that's out front by a second, 2 seconds, it doesn't look like he's ever pushing it that hard. He's just doing his thing, and the wins are coming his way. So, I mean, just absolute execution. You know, just precision execution for Corey Heim. 3 teams. Interesting. Yeah. I haven't slept enough this week. I'm going to be destroyed tomorrow. I do need to get some laundry going. So we'll hop off for a little bit, but we'll go back live with something, maybe a few things. Maybe I finish Titanfall in an hour or two after we go back live. Maybe do some Chicken Police, and then if we're still going and my boys aren't on to play something, maybe we could do the back rooms. There's a couple levels I haven't done yet, but yeah, we could possibly go back to NASCAR, but I would have to move the green screen around and change the software and this and that and the other. It's a lot. Christian said, so Doodlebug said, hi, I'm losing the championship. Yeah, it's a possibility. Christian Riley, I think that's because the race up front was kind of boring. The cameras were mostly mid-pack on the playoff guys. Yeah, I mean, that's TV's doing its job. You know, you can just watch the lead, but you know, if it's not action-packed, you want the battle to be shown on TV. What would really help is if they would just zoom out, or have more cameras up on like the spotter stand and just showing the whole track every now and then, or you know, from a high up angle showing the track. That way you get a good look at how the field's really spread out. A lot of times they're zoomed in way too far. Well, interesting race, guys. About 1,000 of you guys stopped by. It's been real. Probably see you guys here shortly, but until hopefully my thumbs stop bleeding. Until then, hope you guys. Oh yeah, there's just blood everywhere. I'm gonna have to clean this up too. But anyway, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Hope you guys have a good one. And just remember, we won't be live for the Xfinity or the Cup race, but we will be back live for next week's races. So should be back by then.